we do up here? We give our takes. We give predictions for what might happen in the future, right? Let me give you a prediction of what might happen in the future. For the next 12 years, no championships in LA.
We back to 88 to 2000 again?
Why,
0.
12 years. How can you see 12 years?
I can't say that.
Because I have forward vision.
Well, wait a minute.
I can see the future.
So why are we going over a decade without winning it again? What are we doing that we're not winning it again? Like, we got a top 5 player on our roster already. That's 26 years old. We already have that. And the Lakers have proven over the course of time, and I can run this down for you really quickly. The Lakers trade for Jabal in 75. Within 5 years, within 4 years, they win the NBA championship. Jabal is the best player in the league. They end up running the entire decade. They lose Magic in 91, right? They lose Magic in 91. They get Shaq and Kobe Bryant in 1996. Within 4 years, we NBA champs.
Those guys ain't coming back.
Okay,
I hate to bring up that Rick Pitino shit, but
no, they not.
Larry Bird ain't coming through the door, chill.
But I'm not finished. Okay, they proceed to run the decade. The Lakers were right.
Okay,
it's them in San Antonio. So then we lose Bryant in we end up losing Bryant in 2016. We get James within 3 years. Within 3 years of losing Bryant, we get James and we win the NBA championship. The point is that when they get themselves a top 5 player within 4 years, we right back at the mountaintop. We have that right now in Luka. The question is how are we building our unit around that? Yes, James is ridiculously polarizing. I am not just going to get off of James.
If you're standing at the mountaintop and I'm standing in heaven, I'm higher.
Yes, you are. 100% you are.
Oh, welcome to San Antonio. Welcome to OKC.
But I standing in Mount Everest, maybe. You know.
Heaven is still higher than Mount Everest.
The difference is that I've proven
exactly how high is heaven.
But Penn, I've proven over the course of time that even if I am standing at the mountaintop, I will get to heaven at some point soon. Once I have this one thing, I got Jabal.
You could dive off and try.
And that's happened. Like, we went the other way. Like, they lost Bryant in 16, get James in 19. We NBA champs within the next 3. We NBA champs within the next 3 years. We get Shaq in 96. Bryant shows up in 96 also. We NBA champs within the next 4 years. So I've proven that if I have this one common denominator, which is a top 5 player in the league, arguably the best player in the league, if I have that, I have something to build around, and we will get back to the mountaintop. So I'm not coming off Luka.
Everything that the NBA has done has been to slant things away from big market teams having all the monopolization, being able to assemble big threes through free agency, incentivizing players through supermaxes to stay home. This whole thing was meant to prevent LA and teams in California, teams in Texas, and teams in Florida from being able to monopolize championships and dynasties. And it's working because those next 2 dynasties potentially are going to be in San Antonio and OKC. And unless something really horrible happens with those 2 teams, I'm looking at the future and I got a direct line to God. And he is telling me those championships are going to OKC and San Antonio. We are ping pong in between those 2. And the Lakers are not in the equation.
12 years. Well, they got Luka. Like, if you see the future, let's say your buddies get together, Luka and Jokic. Like, I mean, it's not like this thing is just
they can lose together.
It's not just laid out for San Antonio and OKC to win the next 12. There's new kids coming into the NBA every day. There's more happening. So I'm not going to sit here and
are you watching how much better Chet has gotten? Just year to year. Are you seeing how much better AJ Mitchell has gotten?
There's so many other players in
those
the
aren't
world
even the 2 best players on their team.
That's like,
keep going on.
No, they don't look like 2 best players on any team. You know what I'm saying? So that's not, you know what I mean? So anyways, what I'm saying
they wouldn't be the 2 best players on any team.
No.
Are you being for real? Chet and AJ Mitchell wouldn't be the 2 best players in Washington.
No, I don't. No.
Okay.
Let's stay focused.
Okay, wait, my bad.
Stay focused for a second. So I'm like,
be the best players in San Antonio. Sorry, Sacramento.
Okay, sure. Let's keep going. AJ. All right, great. The problem too is like Luka is saying things like, I don't want you to trade Austin Reeves, and if we're trying to go get Gian in this situation, like, well, Luka, you got it. We got to do something in LA, right? Like,
Yes.
if you're gonna get off of Bron, where do you go? If you're gonna are we gonna just run it back without Bron? It's just gonna be the Luka and Austin show. Like Luka is not able to play 65 plus. He's not able to play in the playoffs. They got to make something happen. But this is Los Angeles. Like, this is California. This is the Lakers. They are going to retool.
Yes,
I'm just looking to see, like, in what way. You know what I mean? So, like, who's out there?
Yo, this PC Ron here.
This is Chilltown Hoops.
Yo, this is Drench Man, not the French man.
Mars here.
This is Swiper.
Yo, this is Big Ox.
I want to start by showing love to everybody that rocks with PC.
We appreciate y'all, whether you catch every episode,
Catch the clips, jump in the chat, or just support from a distance.
We see all of it.
We put a lot into this, a lot of time, a lot of energy.
And a lot of love. And we do it because we really care about giving y'all dope content and building the best sports community out there.
But if we being real, the way we can keep growing this thing and make more content, have better productions, more live events, more PC weekends, more meetups, all of that stuff.
It's through memberships.
The support really helps us keep this thing moving.
So if PC has ever been a part of your day,
Helped you get through work,
Made you laugh.
Made you mad?
Or just gave you somewhere to tap in with people who really love the game.
go check out the memberships tiers and see which one works best for you.
We're here every day doing this.
And with y'all behind us,
We can keep taking this to another level.
tap into the membership.
And let's keep building this thing, baby. PC to the top with you. Let's do it.
You're
Well,
not
I
just
wanna-
retooling with like role players and 2 stars. This is the formula to retool in the 80s and 90s. Right now, you're having to deal with the depths of San Antonio and OKC. You're talking about teams that go 10, 12 deep. This is not something you can just make up in an offseason because Shaq decides that he's going from Orlando to LA. That ain't happening because now Shaq doesn't go from Orlando to LA because Orlando can offer him way more money. What he does is he re-signs with Orlando and then he asks for a trade, which completely changes the equation of how rosters are built.
You mean
Right.
like what Giannis could do in Milwaukee, where Giannis could re-sign
Sure.
with them and then ask for a trade and get a haul back for him?
Right. Exactly. He re-signed and now he wants a trade.
Sure.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
But the team has to give up
just have to
something.
do
You're
it
not just
different. You don't do it the same way you used to. But there's more than one way to build a basketball team.
But you're
Yes, sir.
but what I'm saying is teams like OKC and San Antonio haven't just won for the moment. They're winning for the decade. Like they haven't set themselves like you
There's
have
no
to look
evidence
at
to-
everything that like
Oh man, there's no evidence there's no evidence to prove that what we have going on right now, Penn. The reason why I'm saying that is because we saw when I'll give myself I'll make myself the example, Penn, really quickly, and
Mhm.
I'd like to hear your take on this. When I saw the Bulls win the championship in 1991, I was like,
Mhm.
these dudes gonna be around for a while.
yep.
And you better get used to have because these dudes ain't going nowhere. When I saw Shaq and Kobe do it in 2000, I was like, these dudes gonna be around for a while. So you better get used to seeing them. They ain't going nowhere. When James jumped on that Miami Heat team, I was like, they're gonna win it again next year. And it just
And they
looked like
didn't.
and even with the Warriors, I was like, these dudes gonna be around for a while. These last 6 years, everybody that we've said is gonna be around for a while has not been around. Milwaukee was supposed to be around for a while. No, the Golden State Warriors, that was a one-up. That's all that was. That's an old group. That's an old group that ended up dropping an album that hit. And instead of taking that album and going, yo, we're just going to do tours. But they was like, yo, we're going to drop more music. No. Same thing with Denver. Denver was set up to do it. Boston was set up to do it.
Every team
Oklahoma
you're
City is
talking
set up to
about.
do it.
And Penn, no, you can't say every team because Boston is the perfect
They
example.
were set up to do it.
When Boston won it in 24, they had the perfect blueprint to run off, just to run through the league.
No, they
go
didn't.
to the champion, especially in the East.
They
Ben,
were
there's no way
older.
you can tell me. There's no way you can tell me. We have Jason Tatum,
Is that a challenge?
Jaylen Brown,
Okay.
Porzingis, Drew Holiday, Derek
than
White,
Shea, worse than
Peyton
Shea,
Pritchard.
worse than
It's
Shea,
not
worse
about
than
being
Shea,
worse than
worse
Shea.
than
You
Shea.
just
Of course it
said you
is.
can't take. You just said you can't take superstars and build a roster around them and all of a sudden compete. No, you have to have a roster. Now, I know Shea does have a roster,
team is
but
deeper than those teams and it's younger than those teams.
You're not even listening to what I'm saying. You're just trying to respond. This isn't even about OKC. It's about the formula of all these teams. What I'm saying is Boston was built to be dominant for the rest of this decade.
No, they
Do you
weren't.
see how quickly? Do you see how quickly that just went to shit? What I'm saying is the same thing can happen to OKC. The same thing can happen to the Spurs. The same thing can happen to the Pistons. Hey, the thing about it is how Chill just said about Shaq and Kobe. Nobody foreseen them breaking up due to them just not getting along. Pin, this is life. I'm trying to tell you that this is deeper than basketball. This is life. People get injured, things happen, arguments happen, all type of people can get traded because of whatever. Somebody just might retire just because they're tired of basketball. I'm saying like you're making a good point about the Spurs and OKC, but anything can happen. When we just look back in history, anything can happen. We're about to see. We seen the Boston Celtics just 2 years ago look invincible. And now they talk about trading Jaylen Brown and breaking the whole band up this summer.
They're not comparable
because they won.
Why are they not comparable? And I'm gonna tell you. No, I'm gonna tell you exactly why it's comparable. Because one of Boston's biggest things. One of Boston's biggest things, and you continue to bring this up, you can't build a team like how you built a super team in the past because it's a different NBA. Okay, it's a different NBA. OKC is going to have to pay AJ Mitchell. He's going to be gone. They're going to have to pay J-Dub. They're going to have to pay Chet. They've already paid Shea. Somebody is gone. All of these guys are gone.
When these NBA championship runs, like shit gets expensive. And it gets expensive real fast in small markets.
San Antonio's going to have to pay Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, your man Carter Bryant. All of these guys have to get paid. Things then that means you have to retool. And I know these guys have draft assets and all of that, but I'm telling you, it's not as sweet as it seems. Hence, the last 7 years, it being a new champion. And it might be a new champion this year.
Pen, what happened?
Pen, why are you asleep?
Wait, Pen. A question for you.
I'm well rested. I'm well rested.
Wake up, bro. Why are we comparing these rosters? I'm listening to y'all yap about these
rosters. The Boston Celtics had one of the best roster constructions that we've seen over the last 15 years.
It's not even true.
The Boston Celtics have had one of the better roster constructions over the last 15 years. And you can sit here and lie about that. And you can sit here and act like that's not true. They've had one of the best roster constructions over the last 15 years. You disagreeing with this is just you trying to be argumentative. They literally had one of the best roster constructions over the last 15 years.
10 minutes.
See, that's your problem is you want to respond and you don't want to listen. That's your problem. And this is all because I said Braun was better than Scotty Barnes. Now you on this type time.
I told you, Ron, I tried to tell you that we were trying to be a productive episode, but you had to say that shit. You had to say that shit.
Pen, I want to get to your point, Pen. So why is this different than what was going on in the past?
Al Horford was 37. Let's start there. Al Horford was 37. Let's start
Al Horford
there.
was 37.
Drew Holiday was 33. Let's start there. So two of your absolute core pieces were very old.
All right.
Okay.
Alex Caruso's old, Ihart's old, and they can't pay both of them. No, I'm not going to be quiet because the point still remains the same, Chill. He's going to try to say that these guys are old and either they're going to retire or they had to leave. The point still remains with OKC. You can't pay Lou Dort. You can't pay Cason Wallace. You can't pay Alex Caruso. You can't pay Ihart. You can't pay AJ Mitchell. These guys all have to hit the streets because OKC can't afford them the same way Boston couldn't afford Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday. They managed to keep Derek White, but Derek White might be gone too. The same point remains. These championship rosters have to rebuild and retool. If the Boston Celtics had to do it,
you got the chat
I wonder why.
I'm a child. because I'm trying to respond to this nonsense and you won't back up.
Let's hear it, Pen.
You talk about this guy being too expensive. They're gonna have to re-sign this guy. They're gonna have to just mute yourself, Ron. You're talking about like, oh, you got to pay this guy, that guy. You're missing the grander point of asset management. If we know that we can't pay Cason Wallace, guess what we can trade Cason Wallace for? 3 first-round picks. We can always upgrade. We can always do that. These are not like unforeseen.
Who's giving you
circumstances.
3 first-round picks for Case and Wallace?
Quiet, Ox. Let him finish.
Anyone in the league would give you 3 first-round picks for Case and Wallace right now. If you don't
All
respect
right, never
Case
mind,
and Wallace,
Ox. Get
that's one thing.
his ass. Get him.
AJ Mitchell is a player who is. AJ Mitchell is on one of the
Pitt,
cheapest
I
contracts.
can get with
in
the
the league.
AJ Mitchell hype. I can get with that.
Well, who's been on the AJ Mitchell hype? You know what I get tired of? I get tired of being right, being told I'm crazy. 12 months later, everybody accepts that I'm right. And then I get to be called crazy again for the next thing I say. And then 12, bro, I'll talk to you in 12 years when the Lakers haven't won a championship. You can apologize to me then. My point is very simple. Okay. This team has built what we talked about the other day with Brad Stevens, right? We talked about a margin of error. This team is playing without arguably their second best player. They're missing $45 million off their cap sheet, and they are sweeping teams. They're better than they were last year. And J-Dub has barely played. Why? Because they're smart. They found Jared McCain. For what? They cashed in some of those picks, right? They cashed in some of those loosely late first-round picks, and they got Jared McCain. When a team shows you that they're this far ahead of the curve in terms of development, in terms of asset management, in terms of roster building, and they have one of the best guards in NBA history, and they have one of the best rim protectors in NBA history, and they have, frankly, one of the best benches and rosters. It doesn't matter if you can't afford Lou Dort. It doesn't matter if you can't afford Case and Wallace. You'll trade those guys and you'll upgrade. You'll. If a team right now wanted to trade for Giannis, you know which team could do the best job?
Yep.
OKC. You know which team could do the second best job? San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the 2 teams right now that, despite being 2 of the youngest teams in the league, are 60-plus win teams. They're going to be exchanging championships for a long time. And your smug ass can just stand there and watch.
I'm not saying that you're wrong.
I am.
These two teams clearly have some of the best roster construction and setup going into the future. Cool. Like it's clear. OKC and the Spurs are built the most to succeed in the future. Over the next 12 years, if I was to be a betting man, I would bet on these 2 teams to at least win 2 to 3 more championships. The only point I'm making is that life comes at you fast. The same way that the league turned around quick when Steph Curry revolutionized it and Klay Thompson was in the corner knocking down threes and Draymond Green and they were playing small ball. The same way that turned quick is the same way that this league's going to turn over. Hey, we're looking at it now. In 5 years, the league's going to be completely different. The landscape's going to be different.
When the
you are too. You're saying I'm
future.
using the past to look at the future. You're looking at the current to look at the future. What I'm trying to say is, I know that you come up here and you say that you can see the future and you're at the top of Mount Everest and yada yada yada. Motherfucker, you don't know what the league gonna look like in 5 years.
But Penn, I think where the disconnect is the way that this whole thing was, the way that this thing was constructed. It was the way that this thing was constructed
was good,
was
Miles.
very much like how it was constructed in Milwaukee. Where did they get Giannis? They got him in the draft. Where did they get Middleton? They got him in the draft, right? They ended up in addition to getting Middleton, they ended up getting Bledsoe. They swap out Bledsoe for a younger Drew Holiday. What happens? These guys break down. With these guys breaking down, then we move on.
What happened, Cho?
Wait a minute. Then we move on to the Boston Celtics. Where do you get Marcus Smart? You get him in the draft. Where do you get Jaylen Brown? You get him in the draft. Where do you get Jason Tatum? You get him in the draft. Where do you get Robert Williams? You get him in the draft. And these guys stay together.
It's not even true, Cho. You got them via trade.
In the draft. I still got him in the draft.
No, you got them via trade because the Brooklyn Nets had a change in ownership and they lost their damn minds and they traded away a whole bunch of picks.
I still got him in the draft. That still doesn't go away.
Championship windows need to be understood.
My point is that we got him in the draft. I got Robert Williams in the draft, right? And we stay together. And in addition to us staying together, we start winning and we build something. And in the process of us getting to the doorstep, we're not there yet. So we exchange. So I take Marcus Smart out of the lineup and I exchange him for Drew Holiday. So I take Robert Williams, who's injury prone, out of the lineup and I exchange him for Al Horford. And it works. And I'm thinking that it's going to continue to work. But to Ron's point, life hits us. Al Horford ends up getting older. Porzingis doesn't hold up. That throws a monkey wrench in everything we were doing, what we were building. Same logic goes on with the Denver Nuggets. Where did they get Joker? In the draft. Where did they get Jamal Murray? In the draft. Where did they get MPJ? In the draft. Where did they get Christian Brown? In the draft. We're building this thing, and while we're building this thing, we're swapping out. We're not having an entire roster overhaul. We're just swapping out one or two guys to continue to move forward. When we do that, we win, but then ultimately something happens to throw a monkey wrench in what we got going on. Oklahoma City built this thing primarily through the draft, and they swapped out one or two players. Like they bagged Hartenstein in free agency. Boom. They ended up trading for Alex Caruso. Boom. But then something hasn't happened. Nothing has happened yet. Nothing has happened yet, but this is the pattern that we have going on throughout the course of this decade. This is what's been going on. Where do you get Wemby? You get Wemby in the draft. You get Harper in the draft. You get Castle in the draft. You get Vassell in the draft. You get Keldon Johnson in the draft. All of these, this is how they're building their unit. So when we're talking about the Lakers, we got to get younger. And when we get younger, we need some draft picks. But the problem is that we got a dude that's on the crew that's 41 years old that's still fucking awesome. So we kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. What you can't sell me, Pennis, you can't sell me that the roster construction has not been the same over the course of the last decade, because yes, it has.
I mean, look, I'm right. You know I'm right. You're screaming about it, and you can cry about it, but it doesn't change anything.
My fault. I didn't realize.
No. I mean, like you're free to scream.
I just thought I was talking. My fault.
No. It's cool. Like everyone is entitled to a damn opinion. I mean, just because my opinion is right, and I got the charisma of cardboard up here, it doesn't make me wrong. It certainly don't make me wrong. And I'm gonna say this: everything is about championship windows. We can all agree that Chris Webber led Sacramento Kings team that some of us loved had a window, right?
Yes.
This OKC team had a window. That Boston Celtics team had a window. Now, what you have to do as a roster constructor, a general manager, a president, is you have to extend that window.
Sure.
But you can also pre-extend the window by getting a whole bunch of draft picks, right? And what I'm trying to say is that as somebody who has studied roster building pretty much for the last 15 to 20 years with great discernment, I have to say that I have seen some teams do it epically well and some teams do it horribly. The Boston Celtics were a very good example of roster building. The Denver Nuggets are a great example of roster building. These are great teams. They, as you said, they knocked it out in the draft. They got Jamal Murray. They hit on draft picks. You got to hit on your draft picks for sure. You especially got to hit on those high draft picks.
Especially teams like Oklahoma City, especially small market teams. We can't get it wrong in the draft. We got to get it right.
But you got to win the margins too, Cho. You got to get some lopsided trades to go your way. You got to get advantages to go your way. The real way that OKC and San Antonio really built this up is almost identical. What did they actually do? OKC and San Antonio were in identical positions. They were middling playoff teams. OKC with Russell Westbrook and Paul George and a whole bunch of bloated contracts. Carmelo Anthony, you remember the team. And San Antonio with DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. They had a lot of guys. When they got off of Kawhi Leonard, they had DeJounte Murray. They had Derek White. They had Jakob Poeltl. They had a lot of good players on that team. But the truth is, these two teams took very calculated gaps in their and what they did was they sold very high on assets.
Sure.
They got multiple first round picks, and they hit their own picks, but they also got other teams' picks. And then they took those picks and they picked players and then traded those players for like 3 more picks. And so what San Antonio and OKC have done is not only have they knocked it out of the park with their draft picks, J-Dub, Chet, AJ Mitchell, all these guys for the Spurs, for Case and Wallace. Not only are they excellent at scouting, they're incredible at development. They have great team cultures. They have great young coaches at the helm. They're getting the maximum out of these players.
Sure.
But also, they have good contracts. They have smart cap structure, and they have future assets to pivot. The Lakers don't have anywhere close to the roster, to the future haul that these teams do. Not only that, I would argue the San Antonio Spurs are not even close to scratching the surface, and they're probably going to end up in the Western Conference Finals. It's different when your team is being anchored by 30-year-olds and 32-year-olds because the window is slowly closing, right? The end of that Divac and, Weber run and Bibby run, like those guys were still in their prime. Chill. AJ Mitchell is not in his prime.
When he tore his knee up.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the hoes go ham. You ain't never seen hoop talk hit the raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.